There is a new design style doing really well on Amazon right now, and it's the EDM niche with this kind of RGB glitch effect. This shirt with a ghost has a 100+ times bought in the past month badge and a 150k BSR. This one on the right is a very simple graphic of a ghost, once again with that glitch effect, and this was 50+ times bought in the past month, 250k BSR. And here we've got another example of a bunny with the same effect, also 50+ times bought, 300k BSR. So there's definitely demand for this style right here. People really like it in this kind of EDM music sub-niche. And Juna actually made a tutorial on how to create this. He figured out how to make this style in Affinity Designer, and props to you, Juna, for figuring that out. I wasn't sure myself how to create these designs when I found the niche with Adam in one of our Merch Mastermind research calls, but I wanted to make a video showing you how to create this style totally for free, so only using free tools. And I also wanted to order one of these as a sample to see, do these actually print well? Because that's one of the biggest questions that we had when we found this is, will this effect even work when printed? It looks cool on the screen, but how does it look in real life? So that will be at the end of the video, but let's start with showing you how to actually create these designs. So there's kind of two steps to this process. The first one being generating your initial graphic just as a very plain and simple white illustration on a black background, and then the second step will be moving that graphic into Photo P, which is a good free tool to create that RGB glitch effect. And the reason I don't create that glitch effect straight away with AI is because you have a lot less control and it doesn't do a very good job of it either. Like, I've tried it with a bunch of different tools and it just doesn't look like the shirts that we just saw on Amazon. So this is Revi or Rev Ad, and I'll leave a link to this in the description down below. It does a pretty good job. You get 20 credits for free each day, and as you can see, I've got a cat DJ right here, I've got a skull DJ, and yeah, this cat looks pretty cool as well. So the way I did this is the prompt is a white single color illustration of a cat DJing and wearing headphones and sunglasses, isolated on a black background. So I'll leave this prompt down below as well, so you can use it yourself. We've got the subject essentially right here. This is the part that you can swap out for whatever topic you want, whatever niche you want to enter with this style. You could also just change cat to something else, like ghost, for example. We saw that on some of the designs. So let's see what a ghost would look like for this prompt. Also bear in mind that you have an enhance feature down here. So this will use a magic prompt and it might actually change this to a more detailed design. That's what happened here with this skull. Ideally, you want it to be a bit more simplistic. That way, once the glitch effect is applied, it's easier to see what the original graphic actually was. So that's what the ghost looks like. I prefer the cat graphic, to be honest. And also bear in mind, you can change the amount of images it generates. Just be aware that that uses more of your daily credits as well in that case. What about a raccoon? Let's just try that as well. And if you want to take a closer look at them, you can change the view to 2, for example. And there we have the raccoon, which looks okay, but it's better to have quite a solid white shape for this effect. So I think I'm going to use the cat. That's my favorite out of the lot. To download the graphic, you just click up here and then it will save it to your device. And I will move on to the second step. So I'll have a link to Photo P in the description. This is essentially a free web browser-based Photoshop alternative. And on this page, we need to click New Project. Then you want to enter the width of 4,500 and the height of 5,400 pixels. Whoops, I messed that up. And that's if you're selling on Amazon Merch at least. The DPI, I'm going to change to 300 and the background color to black. You want to keep the profile on this RGB one. Now hit create and we'll open up this blank canvas that way. And now you need to drag and drop your design. So I'll take the cat, I'll move it in here, and it opens up in the bottom layer for some reason. So I'll move this above the background. There we go. Now you'll notice if I hide the background, it still has the actual black background color on this graphic, which you don't want. So in order to remove that, we need to choose the magic wand tool. And I'm using 60 for the tolerance. So use a similar number ideally and turn off contiguous. And then you just need to click on the white of your graphic. And then at the bottom of the layers panel, you can add a raster mask. And there we are. So now we've got all of the black removed. And if we show the actual background color again, we need to also increase the size of this graphic. It's a bit small right now. So I'm going to go back to the move tool. And if you don't see this bounding box right here, you need to enable the transform controls. And now I'm going to just click and drag to increase the size. And I'll align this cat sort of across the top and aligned to the center as well. So there we go. That step is done. Now the next stage of this is changing the color of our graphic to RGB, or making an individual layer for RGB, which stands for red, green, blue. We'll start off with a green layer though, at least that's what Juna did. He said that one should be at the bottom, so I'll follow his advice and we'll go and just call this green right here, and then right click, I'll select blending options and then check color overlay, and by default it makes the graphic black. So we'll click into the black color right here, and then the G field stands for green, and if you enter 255, that'll be the maximum green that you can have. So let's hit OK, OK again, and there we have our green cat. That looks pretty cool already. Now we need to duplicate this layer, so right click on the green one, then select duplicate layer. We'll rename this to blue, and then go back to the blending options, back to color overlay, and you guessed it, we need to change this from green to blue. So I'll just cut this number and paste it into the blue field, hit OK, OK again, and there we go. So now, in order to get that kind of glitch effect going, they actually can't be like fully overlaying themselves. There needs to be a bit of an offset, and to do that you need to have your blue layer selected, and then just use the arrow keys on your keyboard to move this one to the left. So I'll hit the left arrow key, I'll just hold it down until this moves over quite a bit. So there we go. I think that looks all right. Well, right now it looks kind of weird, but it will look all right once we have finished this effect. Now I will duplicate the green layer again and move it all the way to the top, and we'll call this one red, and let's change the blending options again, change this from green to red, and now we'll do this in reverse of selecting red and moving it to the right. So you need to use the right arrow on your keyboard, just hold it down and wait for this to move over for a little while. So you don't want to go too extreme where they're like really far apart, but you also don't want to make the effect too small where if you see it in a thumbnail on the marketplace, you can't even really tell that it has that RGB effect. So you need to find a balance there. You can still move these around afterwards, by the way, once the effect is applied. I'll show you how to do that as well. And now you would think that you can just select all of these and change the blending mode to screen and it would work, but it doesn't. It makes no difference. Screen is the blending mode we need, but first of all, we need to turn all of these into smart objects, because that will apply the mask and the color overlay to the actual graphic layer right here. So right click on the first one and just choose convert to smart object. Now this might take a few seconds, and then you can do the next one. So let's do the blue one as well, and finally the green one. So now that we have all of these in smart objects, we can select them all at once, go to normal, which is the blend mode right now, and then change that to screen, and there we have it. Now we have our EDM RGB cat. Looks really cool. If you zoom out, you can see that effect applied very nicely. And if you zoom in, you can tell that they are all actual shapes. If I hide the background color, they are actual colors. They're not just some half transparent overlay, and it looks pretty cool. And the nicest thing is, now that we've done this step manually instead of with AI, not only does it look more closely to the effect, but you can individually move these layers and create a completely different kind of color effect. So if I move red over, what do we have now? We have like blue and yellow. That doesn't look too great, but let's change blue one, play around with that, and now we have some sort of cyan and red, and that looks really cool in my opinion. So you can easily make this, wow, now we have pink and green just by moving the blue layer to the right there. Got a completely different color effect. So you have a lot more control over this, and you can make it kind of more custom to your liking. And you can also, you don't just have to go left and right, you can also go up and down. By the way, I think Juna addressed this as well. Just don't want to exaggerate, because then I think it'll be hard to make out that this was actually a cat DJ. But going back to our initial stage, I think this design does look really cool, and the way to export it is just go to File up here. You need to make sure to hide the background layer first, but go to File, then Export As, click PNG, and then you can rename this as well, call it EDM cat right here, and then just save this. And now I'm going to upload this to Amazon Merge and order it to my house so we can review together how these colors actually come out in real life. So it's a couple of days later and the shirt has arrived, and I actually think it looks better than I expected, or closer to the original design than I expected. I'll give you a close-up of it right here so you can see the colors a bit more clearly. So I think especially the green and the red look really good, very, very bright. The pink didn't turn out as well. It looks more like a darker violet in a sense. So that's not as accurate, but most of the colors actually look really, really bright and saturated. So I don't think many customers would even notice any difference. But let me know what you think as well in the comments down below. Do you think that this would cause returns because it's not quite as bright as on the screen? Or do you think this is close enough? And by the way, I ordered this on the 25th of May and it arrived on the 27th. So really quick turnaround. I did upload this to Amazon Merch and then ordered it from there as well, British marketplace. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed by this result, even though it's not 100% there, which is to be expected with this being very bright RGB colors. I think in general, it's a pretty decent result. If you prefer creating your designs for free, I would highly recommend watching this video next, where I share the top 5 best free AI art generators that you can use for commercial purposes.